Hi, this is Lucas with YOGABODY, and I'd like to help you plan your breakup with sugar, meaning I want to help you learn how you can reduce the sugar in your diet to improve your energy, to lose weight, to feel great, and to ward off all of the degenerative illnesses that are correlated with high blood sugar levels. Before we do that, it's important that we understand exactly what happens throughout the day using this amazing illustration that I've created here. I'm just joking. Please excuse my third grade style drawing. Hopefully this will help you see what I'm talking about. Let's say that we have Mr. Man here, and this is your typical person. This was me when I first started working on my blood sugar about a year ago. Mr. Man wakes up and he has a fasting blood glucose of about 100 milligrams per deciliter. About 5 grams of sugar are circulating in his blood, in his body, which is not dangerously high, but it is problematic. It's subclinical, meaning no doctor is going to say you're diabetic, but it's certainly a problem. And so what happens? Well, Mr. Man has no idea unless he watched video 1 and learned how to take his blood sugar. And so what happens with Mr. Man? Well, at 7:30, he has a healthy breakfast. And what's a healthy breakfast? Well, all of these foods I've chosen are the most common foods that people eat. And I've also top graded them, meaning I've picked the organic or the natural, the gluten-free version. So let's take a look. Mr. Man starts off with a breakfast cereal, some morning muesli, some low-fat milk, a glass of orange juice, fresh squeezed orange juice, and then a cup of coffee or tea. The coffee and tea rev up Mr. Man's nervous system, puts him in sympathetic nervous system mode, so he's ready to go. The sugar, we got about 30 grams of sugar in the cereal. We have about 30 grams of sugar in the juice. Not amazing, but not terrible, right? So Mr. Man's energy spikes up, ready to go to work. Now the problem is that was quite a big spike and there wasn't a very steady balance there, meaning there wasn't much fat and protein to balance out Mr. Man's energy. So he goes dipping way back down, and right around 11 a.m., Mr. Man reaches hump number 1, which is what most people find. There's 2 different humps in the day, one mid-morning, one mid-afternoon. This is where we really get into trouble. So at 11 a.m., Mr. Man reaches into his desk drawer and pulls out gluten-free multi-seed, multi-grain crackers. On paper, these look awesome. In reality, they have about 50 grams of sugar per serving. Now you're looking at that and you're saying, that's not sugar, that's whole grains. Well, all of these things get turned into glucose in your body. Some are faster, some are slower, but these multi-seed crackers are actually pretty fast. And you know that again, because you can check your blood sugar. So boom, Mr. Man is back up. Now these 50 grams of sugar keeps him going pretty much through lunch. And at lunch, Mr. Man has a tuna sandwich, right? A tuna fish sandwich. Not a terrible choice, but we got about 55 grams of sugar again in that whole grain bread. Whole grain bread, but it's whole wheat. There's B vitamins, there's fiber. Well, that's fine, but there's plenty of better choices than bread for B vitamins and fiber. But let's put that aside. Here's where Mr. Man really gets into trouble. He goes for a fruit smoothie from Jamba Juice, right? Very, very common. We have a fruit smoothie. We want to get some vitamins, 70 grams of sugar. So Mr. Man gets spiking way up right about at 1 p.m. Because he went so high, what goes up must come down. Boom, we hit the other slump, which is usually 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. in the afternoon. People just feel like they're falling asleep at their computer, falling asleep at their desk. Mr. Man reaches again into his desk and says, hey, what do I got here? I have a pure organic chocolate brownie with omega-3s and chia seeds. This is so healthy. Each one of them has about 30 grams of sugar, unfortunately, and they're so tiny. They're only about 50 grams each, so Mr. Man needs 2 of them. Now we got 60 grams of sugar. That's the bad news. The good news is Mr. Man is alive until the end of the day. At dinner at 7 p.m., Mr. Man makes one of his better choices for the day. Has a chicken breast, broccoli, and rice, which clocks in just about 35 grams of sugar, which for a meal is actually really in range. It's about appropriate. The problem is that Mr. Man has been roller coasting all day long, and his body again, boom, drops back down. So at 8 p.m. when Mr. Man sits down to watch his favorite series on television, has a couple of glasses of red wine. We all know that red wine's so healthy, right? Reverses heart disease, or maybe it doesn't. And then has a little bit of ice cream as well. And bam, we got 60 grams of sugar with the ice cream. And we have 8 grams of sugar with the red wine, but don't be confused because we also have 30 grams of alcohol sugar, which is arguably even worse than the sugar from the grapes. So here's what we have, a really healthy looking daily meal. We've got organic quinoa, we got omega-3s, we got fruit smoothies, we got gluten-free crackers, we've got whole grains, we've got broccoli, all kinds of stuff. The problem is, Mr. Man ate just under 400 grams of sugar. That's representing about 80% of his calories are coming from sugar. 80% of everything he eats now in the day is sugar. His energy is up and down, up and down. His mood is up and down, up and down. And the next day, the whole process starts over again. It's no surprise that Mr. Man has food cravings. It's no surprise that Mr. Man feels very unstable throughout the day. And it's also no surprise that over time, Mr. Man is going to have a hell of a time keeping his weight under control, because this leads to metabolic disaster. 400 grams of carbohydrates per day is very difficult for most people to deal with. Now, if you're an athlete, if you're under 25 years of age, you might be able to handle that level of carbohydrates if you're eating anti-inflammatory carbohydrates, safe starches, and things like this. But if you're over 25, if you put on a little extra weight, if you're not an athlete, you probably need half or less of this sugar in order to cut off those peaks and cut off the valleys of this energy dip throughout the day. So what do? Well, if we look at these peaks and these valleys and we want to chop them off, what we need to do is reduce the sugar. If we reduce the sugar, we need to fill in those nutrients with protein and fat, healthy protein and healthy fat. Now, I want to make it clear, it's not that sugar is bad, the poison is in the dose. What's bad is eating this level of sugar throughout the day. People are accidentally overdosing on sugar. We just want to get it back under control and boost back up healthy, clean protein, healthy, clean sources of fat, so we can feel stable energy from morning to night, so we can feel metabolic balance, so that sugar isn't wreaking havoc on our kidneys, on our nervous system, on our endocrine system. It's not creating wrinkles. It's not creating weight gain that's out of control. So the first step towards your sugar breakup is understanding what's going on. And the second step is making a plan to level it off. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, the first week of your sugar breakup, it's gonna hurt, right? Because you're so used to this spike in this valley, spike in this valley. The first week is gonna be a little bit bumpy. The good news is the second week, you're gonna feel great. And by the third week on, you're gonna feel completely transformed, because instead of going up and down all day long, you can feel steady energy from morning, noon, and night, and that's really what sugar detoxing is all about. I hope this video has been helpful for you. My name is Lucas, and I am hosting a 30-day YOGABODY sugar detox where I will lead you step by step through very simple educational videos just like this, give you a very simple protocol, no extreme dieting, no hardcore restriction, no balancing and super calorie counting, none of that stuff. It's very, very simple. And in the span of 30 days, you'll not only understand the science and the physiology behind why this is important, you'll also have all the practical tools you need to make it happen in your life. For more information, please scroll down for details. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.